Yeah. Tattopadesha, Shloka 44. Tattvamodbodhyate thapi पौर्वापर्यानुसारतः तथापि शक्यते नैव गुरो श्रीगुरोः करुणा विना. This shloka should be read with the previous shloka. Aham brahmeti vijnanam yasya shokam taratyasau. That is one idea. Shloka 43. One who gets aham brahma iti vijnana, one who gets the knowledge aham brahmasmi, he becomes free from shoka, free from samsara. Then shloka 43. Shloka 43, line 2. Atma prakashamanopi महावाक्यैस्तथैकता तत्त्वमोबोध्यते थापि पौर्वापर्यानुसारतः तथापि शक्यते नैव श्रीगुरोः करुणां विना. Upper, yeah, even the following shloka 43 second line, 44 and 45 first line, these should be read together, then only it makes full sense. So we will read 44:5 also. अपरोक्षयितुं लोके मूढैः पण्डितमानिभिः अन्तःकरणसंशुद्धौ स्वयं ज्ञानं प्रवर्तते. So here the shlokas, each shloka is not independent. That is the problem with these verses. So we have to understand half of the first shloka, the previous shloka, and half of the following shloka. Then only it makes sense. So that is why, unlike other prakarana granthas, this prakarana grantha, the shlokas are mixed up. So Atma prakashamanopi. The Atma is prakashamanaha, ever effulgent, as the very illuminer of everything, including the cognition, including the experiences. If any experience is there, it has to be illumined by Atma. Then alone it becomes an experience. Therefore, Atma is ever effulgent, sada prakashamanaha, ever effulgent. Yet there is ignorance regarding the Atma. Though Atma is ever effulgent, there is ignorance. How is it possible? Ignorance can be present about something which is not effulgent, which is not shining, which is remote, away from us. We can have ignorance. For example, there is a planet Pluto. Whether Pluto is a planet or not, even that is not known properly. We have ignorance regarding Pluto. whether water is there or not, what minerals are there in Pluto, and so on and so on. Because it is remote, not even fully available to telescopes, much less to naked eyes. Therefore, there is ignorance regarding Pluto. We can understand. But how can there be ignorance regarding something that is always effulgent and not at all remote? It is Atma. It is not away from you, and it is effulgent. Then how can there be ignorance? This question might arise. Then the Acharyas say it is very much possible. For example, the 10th man, the 10 people were crossing the river. After crossing the river, they counted, and the 10th man was missing because the leader of the 10 did not count himself. The 10th man is not remote, very much there, and very much evident also. He is not covered, he is not hiding, he is very much present and very much evident, not remote. Yet ignorance is possible. That is why mistake happens. They are searching for the 10th man because there is ignorance. There is mistake. Similarly, though the Atma is ever effulgent, there is ignorance. To remove the ignorance, we need jnana, knowledge of the Atma. How to get the knowledge? We need a pramana. And the pramana to get the Atma Jnana is Mahavakya, the statement of Vedanta. Mahavakyaihi ekata tattvamoha bodhyate. Mahavakyaihi tattvamoha ekata bodhyate. Mahavakya reveals the identity, the aikya between tat and tvam. Tattvamoha ekata bodhyate. Paurvaparyānusārataha. And how do you know that it is ekata? How do you know that Mahavakya is revealing the oneness? Tattvamasi is revealing the oneness. How can you say? Why it cannot be something else? Why Tattvamasi cannot be Dvaita? You are not that, or you are a part of that. Why can't we take that meaning? Then Acharya says, if you analyze the statement and the context, the context where the statement is made, Tattvamasi, you will find that the intended meaning of Tattvamasi is Jiva Brahma Aikya alone. It cannot be anything other than Jiva Ishvara Aikya or Jiva Brahma Aikya. That is why the Acharya says, Purva Paryanusarataha. If you consider the Purva and Apara, Purva means before the Mahavakya, what the Upanishad says. And after the Mahavakya Tattvamasi, what the Upanishad says. If it is considered, then you understand clearly that the purport of Vedanta is Jiva Brahma Aikya, oneness of Jiva and Brahman. For understanding anybody's statement, we cannot just take one statement and interpret. We have to see the context. For any statement, context becomes important. Even in any local speech, it is so. Sometimes it can be misquoted and it can be wrongly interpreted. It may not be the intention of the speaker, but the people may misinterpret his statement without understanding the context of the statement. Likewise, one might as well doubt that even Tattvamasi, does it really convey Aikya? Does it really convey oneness of Jiva and Brahman? Then we tell them, you consider the Purva and Apara, what precedes Tattvamasi Mahavakya and what follows Tattvamasi Mahavakya. If you consider this without any doubt, without any ambiguity, it will become clear that the Mahavakya conveys Jiva Brahma Aikya and nothing else. Aikyam Bodhayati. Mahavakya reveals Aikya. Aikya or Ekata of Tat and Tvam. Tat Padartha and Tvam Padartha. The Aikya is conveyed by Mahavakya. So now, there is an intelligent person. He knows fairly good amount of Sanskrit and he is good at reasoning. And she says that I will read the Mahavakya myself and understand Jiva Brahma Aikya and become a Jnani because I am intelligent, I know Sanskrit, I know logics, highly educated person, I know philosophy. Can I understand the Mahavakya without the help of a guru? This intelligent man who has a very high level of IQ, he asked this question. Then the Acharya says that it is not possible without the help of a guru, whatsoever you might read, whatsoever you might listen on YouTube and recordings, without the help of a guru, jnana is impossible. See, तथापि शक्यते नैव श्रीगुरोः करुणां विना अपरोक्षयितुं लोके मूढैः पंडितमानिभिः. There is a पंडितमानि. Panditam atmanam manyate iti panditamani. One who considers himself a pandita, a learned man, a wise man, and he says, I don't need a guru. I can figure out myself what the Vedanta has to say. Then Shankaracharya calls him, he is a mudha, because he thinks without Guru's help he can understand. Mudhaif panditamani Shri Gurof karunam vina. Without the karuna of a guru, without the compassion of a guru. Compassion implies a teaching. A guru does not teach without compassion. One cannot teach Atma Jnana for any other reason than compassion. It is not taught for money. It is not taught for name and fame. It is not taught for recognition. Then why the Guru has to teach? He teaches only because of compassion. That is why Shri Guroho karunam vina. Without the karuna of a guru, without the daya of a guru, aparokshayitum na shakyate. Loke aparokshayitum na shakyate. It cannot be known. Aparokshayitum. To get aparoksha jnana. They talk of two jnanas, two levels of jnana. Paroksha jnana and aparoksha jnana. Paroksha jnana means asti brahma iti jnana. The understanding of Brahman as a third person, asti, something called Brahman exists. This understanding is called paroksha jnana, because Brahman is remote for this person, for an ajnani. But he thinks there is Brahman because the Shastra says he has Shraddha in the Shastra. Therefore, he understands there is something called Brahman. Asti. But the Brahman is not me. There is Brahman. I am an individual. Until one has this kind of an understanding, it is called paroksha jnana. I have not become Brahman, but there is Brahman. I still have to attain Brahman. This understanding is paroksha jnana. Most often, even after listening to Vedanta, paroksha jnana continues. People say, I am a jiva, I am helpless. Then we understand that the person has not understood Aham Brahmasmi. So it continues even after lot of Shravana sometimes. One looks upon oneself as non-Brahman. That is paroksha jnana. But in due course of time, by the grace of Ishvara, as well as by the grace of Guru, one gets to understand Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. Then the Brahman is no longer remote, no longer paroksha for this person, in this person's understanding. The Brahman is no longer a third person. Brahman has become first person. Asmi. Asmi Brahma. I am Brahman. Brahman is ever evident for him as the very self. He is not Jiva anymore. He has become Brahman. The ignorance, the ajnana that separated him and Brahman is removed. It is called aparoksha jnana. Asmi Brahma iti jnanam aparoksha jnana. The understanding, I am Brahman, it is called aparoksha jnana. So, aparokshaitum, to get the aparoksha jnana, one needs a guru. Without guru, it is not possible. Without guru, at the maximum, one may get paroksha jnana. Listening to YouTube. In YouTube, so many people are available. So many speakers. One can casually listen to them. Most often people listen to 10 people. And one picks a little from here, little from there, and makes a khichdi and gets confused. It is paroksha jnana. And sometimes it is not even paroksha jnana. It is khichdi, confused jnana, ajnana. After listening to YouTube, the person becomes more ajnani sometimes. Earlier there was no confusion. Now he picked up some confusion. So, aparokshaitum na shakyate. Without Guru's compassion, it is not possible to get aparoksha jnana. Then there is a Purva Paksha. From the second line of this shloka, shloka 45, there is a Purva Paksha. We will read. Antahkarana samshuddhau swayam jnanam prakashate vedavakyairataḥ kim syāt guruneti na sampratam acharyavan purusho hi Vedetyevam Shrutirjagau. Second line of 45 and 46 should be read together. The Purva Pakshi says, I don't need a guru because if there is Antahkarana Shuddhi, if there is Chitta Shuddhi, just by listening to Mahavakya or reading the Mahavakya, one can get jnana. This is Purva Paksha. So make your mind very pure. Then jnana will happen all of a sudden. This is what majority of the people think. You meditate or do japa and all of a sudden jnana will come as a flash, as a mystic experience. Many people have this notion. Shankaracharya says it doesn't happen that way. Antahkarana samshuddhau swayam janam prakashate Vedanta vakyaihi. Antahkarana samshuddhau swayam jnanam prakashate. Jnana happens swayam by itself. Jnanam swayam prakashate. Jnana just occurs in the mind. When mind is pure, antahkarana samshuddhau. Then what is the need of Vedanta Vakya as well as what is the need of a Guru? Ataha, therefore, Vedavakyaihi kim syat. What is the use of Vedavakya? And Guruna kim syat. What is the use of Guru Vakya? If Vedanta Vakya itself is redundant, then what is the need of a Guru also? So there is no need for Guru and there is no need for going to study Vedanta. You don't have to look for a Guru. You don't have to attend the classes. Just do some meditation. Just do some japa or some seva. In due course of time, your mind will become pure and all of a sudden knowledge will dawn. This is Purva Paksha. I am not saying this. That is why if you just listen to one portion of the talk, you will not get the purport. What I said so far was not the purport of my talk. I am expressing my Purva Paksha. That is why stray listening is more dangerous than any good. So, Siddhanti Acharya says, this Purva Paksha is not correct. It is not correct because the Shruti clearly says that there is a need of a Guru. Acharyavan Purusho hi Veda ityevam Shrutirjagau. The Shruti says Acharyavan Purusho Veda. A Purusha, an individual who has an Acharya, who has a Guru, he alone gets the Jnana. Veda. Veda means he knows. He gets Jnana. This is a Shruti Vakya. Therefore, the Shruti Pramana says you need a Guru. Likewise, we have another Shruti Vakya also. Tadvijnanartham sa gurumevabhigachet samitpanihi shrotriyam brahmanishtham. Mundaka. So, for knowing the Brahman, one should have to go to a guru. Mundaka Upanishad also says. Therefore, Purva Pakshi's argument is not correct from the standpoint of the Shruti. It is not correct. We can also give Yukti. Even with the reason, it is not correct. Because Vedanta is very subtle. The Brahman is very subtle. And when things are very subtle, it is always easy to make mistakes. It is always easy to arrive at wrong conclusion. Therefore, to arrive at the right conclusion, to avoid getting into wrong conclusion, one should have a guru, a proper guru, who knows the tradition, the sampradaya, how to understand the shastras, and how to make the student understand the vision of the shastra. One should have this knowledge properly. That kind of a person is a guru. Next shloka. Anadaviha samsare bodhako gururevahi ato brahmatmavastvaikyam ज्ञात्वा दृश्यमसत्तया अद्वैते ब्रह्मणि स्थेयं प्रत्यग्ब्रह्मात्मना सदा तत्प्रत्यक्षात् परिज्ञातम् अद्वैतब्रह्मचिद्घनम् प्रतिपाद्यं तदेवात्र वेदान्तैर्नद्वयं जडं सुखरूपं चिदद्वैतं दुःखरूपमसज्जडम्. So the shlokas are continuous. The ideas. It is not one idea is not conveyed by one shloka. Anada viha samsare bodhako gururevahi. This is anadi samsara. The world is anadi. You cannot point out a beginning to this world. Though there is a cyclic creation, in this cycle the world began. But even before this cycle, there was another cycle of creation. And before that there was another cycle of creation. Thus, samsara is anadi. Anadau iha samsare bodhakaha, one who teaches the truth. He is Guru Revahi, he is Guru. Guru is Bodhaka, one who teaches the truth, one who teaches the Atma, Atma Jnana. He is the true Guru. Ato Brahmatma Vastvaikyam Jnatva. Therefore, one should understand Brahmatma Vastvaikya, the Aikya between Brahman and Atma. myself is Brahman. One should understand this from a guru with effort, and then one should avoid. One can avoid in the vision. Drishyam asattaya jnatva. Drishya, the drishya prapancha is asat, mithya. Drishyam mithya. The drishya prapancha is asat. It does not have existence. It appears without having any existence of its own. Understanding this vision, one can abide in this vision. Advaite brahmani stheyam pratyak brahmatmana sada. And one should abide in Advaita Brahma, the Brahman which is Advaita, without duality. Pratyak Brahmatmana, with the vision, with the awareness, I am the Brahman. My Pratyagatma is Brahman. With this understanding, one abides in the knowledge. Tat pratyakshat parijnatam advaita brahma chidghanam pratipadyam tadevatra vedantairnadvayam jadam. So, Advaita Brahma Chidghanam. The Brahman is Chidghana. It is pure consciousness, without any jada, without any insentient, pure consciousness, without any second, Advaita. And it is pratyakshat parijnata. It is very much evident as the very Atma, ever pratyaksha, ever evident. Tadeva atra vedantaihi pratipadyam. That alone is the pratipadya, the subject matter which is revealed by Vedantas. Vedantaihi pratipadyam. Na dvayam jadam. Dvayam, Dvaita is not the subject matter of Vedanta. Vedanta doesn't teach Dvaita. And Vedanta does not teach Jada, insentient. Because Dvaita and Jada, already we know them. It is available to our senses. Therefore, the Vedanta does not have to reveal Dvaita. Dvaita is already known because of our ignorance. As long as we have Ajnana, Dvaita will be available to us. We don't have to earn Dvaita. But the Advaita Jnanam has to be gained only by Vedanta Pramana. Because it is not available to other means of knowledge. Sukharupam chidadvaitam dukkharupam asajjadam. Moreover, knowing the Dvaita is not going to give any benefit, because knowing the Dvaita will only give dukkha. pain, sorrow, because Dvaita is always dukkha. Dukkha rupam asajjadam. Dvaita is full of jada, insentient, and it is asat, it is mithya. Therefore, you cannot trust it. It can come and go anytime, variable, unpredictable. Therefore, it is always dukkha. Therefore, knowledge of Dvaita does not have any prayojana. Dvaita jnana does not have any prayojana. It is not going to serve any purpose if I know there is Dvaita. So, why the Vedanta does not teach Dvaita? Two reasons. Number one, already known. It is avagatatvat. Dvaita is already known by other means of knowledge. Avagatatvat. It is known. And prayojana bhavat. Another reason. There is no prayojana in knowing the Dvaita. Avagatatvat prayojana bhavacha Dvaitam na Vedanta pratipadyam. Therefore, Dvaita is not revealed by Vedanta. That is why Sukha Rupam Chidadvaitam. Advaita is Sukha Rupa. It is happiness in its own nature. Sukha Swarupa. Bhuma eva Sukham. Bhuma, the infinite Brahman, which is Advaitam, that is Sukha, Ananda. Therefore, knowledge of Advaita has prayojana, phala. Advaita is anavagata. It is not known by other means of knowledge. And it is phalavat, prayojanavat. It has prayojana also. That is why the purport of Vedanta is Advaita alone, not Dvaita. Vedantaistadvayam samyak nirnitam vastuto nayat advaitameva satyam tvam vidhidvaitam asatsada. So, the conclusion of Vedanta is very clear. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Brahman, Advaitam is Satyam, it is real. And Jagat, which is in the form of Dvaita, is Mithya. The nature of these two, the nature of Brahman and Jagat, is clearly established in Vedanta. Tadvayam, that two means Advaita and Dvaita. Chit and Jada, Brahman and Jagat, their nature. Vedantaihi vastutaha samyak nirnitam. Vedanta has ascertained it properly. And Nayat, and it is also justified with the Naya, with the logics. Advaitameva satyam tvam vidhi. Therefore, please understand, the Guru tells the Shishya, please understand that Advaitam alone is Satyam and Dvaitam Asat Sada. Dvaita is Asat. Dvaita is unreal. Mithya. Understand this very well. Okay, we'll stop with this. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.